So here we are in the daylight.
She's quite orange.
Yeah, we are debating very hard what to do with these floors. And now we're thinking of creating more mess by ripping this out. We've got to go and finish the floor by getting up all of these little bits and then clean it and see what we're really dealing with.
Let's say one day I buy the biggest house in town and on the coolest car there is. My career is on everybody's mouth. I got everything I've ever dreamed. I'm driven by my goals, that's how it's always been. And one day I do hope I'll make them all come true. I know it will be great, but I'm afraid that there and then
What you doing?
I'll lose myself all through.
Just tidying stuff up
Why?
to get ready to rip that cabinet up.
We decided to rip the cabinet. Cabinet's going. Bye bye.
So when I get it, what comes next? What comes next? That's why I've always been a bit afraid of
Oh my.
success.
I mean, I don't think we're going to like what we find.
Maybe we should saw bits of it off. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Thanks.
Yeah, we're going to do some finishing to the wall.
Maybe remove the curtain rail as well, so there's space to shimmy.
So when I get it, what comes next? In my
A quick reminder to anyone who needs it. Wear the goggles that your wife bought you. It prevents you taking out your anger on the wall.
head, I'm waking up in a gigantic mansion. Will the granite floors feel cold? A part of me says I'm overthinking all this shit.
Is that upstairs' house?
What do you mean?
No, it's just part of the ceiling. Wow. Jack,
Yeah.
do you have any regrets?
I mean, just these kinds of things, just take it from a easy renovation into a big job, you know. It would have been easier to keep it. It's a lot
What
of
comes
work.
next? What comes next? That's why.
Which one are we going to start with, honey?
We can pick.
Should we start with the one you like the best? Painty, painty, paint, paint, paint.
So I think what we should do is do a row of neutrals and then the darks below, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Looks quite white, doesn't it?
This is frosted white from Wix, which looks a lot more white than the one that we thought looked really white. How thick would you say you put this on? Because it looks quite thin, doesn't it? But I don't know if it's just the colour. Would you say you put both of them on the same thickness, that one and that one?
I hope so.
Okay. Oh my word. That is grey. So here are our many samples, and I think none of them are quite what we expected. We tried all, how many? 11 over there, and quite quickly narrowed it down.
Rightio. So we narrowed it down to really 2. And then we decided, because we didn't like the 2, we'll try an extra 2. This is French grey. This is Terron. This is pointed white. And this is frosted white. Oh no, North Pole. So we think we've decided on the white. We're going to go for pointed white, but the Valspar copy. And then we saw this. I really liked the French grey. So we decided to try it bigger because the whole wall, shelving units, everything is going to be this colour. So I wanted to see how it would look like larger.
And it's grey. I mean, you wanted sage. Originally we were going to do like a black kind of colour.
Yeah.
And then Naomi thought we could do sage. And then somehow we've ended up at this weird grey,
colour.
like a concrete grey.
Ugh,
So
I just didn't want a grey house.
I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I just don't like it.
Ugh.
Of all those colours, I prefer this one in the corner here. It's too green.
Too green.
So we need something, we need to like mix those together.
The French grey is growing on me. It's looking more olivey.
I think you're seeing what you want to see.
What a fireplace!
Ooh.
How pretty is she?
Just gotta make it fit in there somehow.
It's making me like this colour a lot more. We still didn't know which colours to pick, but we were super excited with our new cast iron fireplace that we bought from Facebook Marketplace for only £30. We wanted to see if it was even possible for it to be fitted in at a later date, and we decided to remove the back of the fireplace. However, being made of cast iron and pretty old, we were surprised that the nuts and bolts actually came off. We were overall really happy with how the fireplace came out. It was really important to us that we liked the aesthetic, as that would be the main focal point of our living room. Now we had to move on to the real work.
Having removed the built-in unit from the one side of the chimney breast, we were left with a jagged edge at the corner where those two bits of the chimney breast met. Now, in order to address this, because it stuck out into the front of the chimney, I felt that we had to knock it back in order to then re-plaster it to get a neat corner. In the end, I got a bit carried away and took off all of the plaster along that side of the wall. In hindsight, we probably could have left some of it and just taken off up to the corner and then plastered it round. However, we decided to take it all off and then set about re-plastering that wall.
There are no words to stress to you how scary this was. We did not have a clue about how to plaster a wall, let alone a wall that's facing outside and wanting to make sure it's damp proof. We are lucky to have Jack's father on hand, who is a project manager and a builder, but still, it's a lot easier doing this in Sweden with a house that's worth £10,000. It's a lot more difficult with a house where you don't really even own it because the bank owns 95% of it. Furthermore, we live in a flat, so we had to be careful that whatever we were doing was not going to negatively and adversely affect our neighbours upstairs.
Because this is an old property, it's important to allow the walls to breathe and to make sure that we try and minimise any possibilities of damp. We made sure to use hydraulic lime plaster, which is a plaster specifically used for older kinds of buildings, and the hydraulic nature of it means that actually it sets as it gets wet. That's beneficial for potential damp in the future, but also it has a more breathable and effectively flexible nature than modern plaster mixtures. Now, when mixing this, because we wanted it to stick to the walls, we did use a tiny amount of sand. Not very much, because otherwise that would negate a lot of the benefits of using the plaster in the first place.
Before plastering, we had to make sure that we got rid of any loose or crumbling material. This whole process helped us to prioritise differently. Because the plaster would take at least a couple of weeks to dry, we couldn't paint anything. Therefore, we decided not to think about the wall and instead think about the floors. We used our handheld sander to just sand around the edges where the paint had been prior. Any delusions we had held, thinking that we could use this little sander to sand the whole floor, had disappeared after we just sanded the edge of our living room. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. We wanted the best results for the least amount of work. We did not want to sand our floors, but we wanted them to be beautifully stained. We had researched this dilemma of ours, and most people had told us that you cannot stain floors that have not been sanded. Being the scientists that we are, we decided to run an experiment. We used this space, half sanded, half not, to test out some of the oils that we had from Osmo.
That looks a lot darker, doesn't it? It's pretty evident already that sanding it makes the colour much more prominent.
Now, this experiment did not give us the results we wanted. It wasn't perfectly executed, but it gave us enough insight to make a decision about what we did next. We were going to sand our own floors. The Osmo Original Oil was the most forgiving oil. Given that we were going to be sanding our own floors, it just felt like the most sensible decision to make. Join us next time where we actually sand the floors and we reveal how they came out.